Mr. Jitendra Bhargav, former Executive Director of Air India. Mr. Bhargav, thank you so much, sir, for taking our time to speak to NewsX. Your voice and explanations will be extremely crucial for all our viewers that are watching us right now. I want to begin by asking you, what really will be the key benefits of the merger?
See, let's put it this way. When Government of India disinvested Air India, Tata acquired it. Tata was already running Vistara, and it was a natural thing that the merger will take place.
Right.
You cannot have Tatas as the promoters to have run two airlines, say for example, India to London. Can you have Vistara and Air India competing with each other? The answer is no. So if India needed a formidable airline, international airline, that can compete with Emirates, Etihad, and the other Gulf carriers and Southeast Asian carriers or even European carriers, India needed a strong international player. What is unfortunately happening is that we're judging the merger between Air India and Vistara in relation to domestic market.
Right.
What we need to do is to do it for the international market. And the reason why they took 2.5 years plus to get the merger going was because when Tata's inherited Air India, it was in a bad shape. A large number of aircraft were on ground for want of spare parts. They had to be refurbished. Now they have reached a modicum level of standard of service, qualitative change, re-engineering of work practices, induction of new aircraft, and they're on the threshold of major expansion. So the merger is taking place at an appropriate time because, as we all know, Vistara was known as a good quality product. Air India had a perception which was of not a good quality product. Now that the product has been upgraded and you're somewhere at par with each other, the merger is taking place. So with the large number of aircraft that have been ordered, starts getting inducted, what you need is a total harmony as far as manpower is concerned, network thinking is concerned, growth programs are concerned. So in my opinion, the merger is just the right thing and is happening at the right time. And for the Indian aviation is that we should legitimately be proud in 6 months' time or 1 year's time when we give airlines like Emirates, Etihad, and even the Southeast Asian carriers a run for the money, so they'll have a good quality product.
Mr. Bhargav, how exactly does Air India then hope to achieve this boost? And how exactly does it plan on revamping its image before the world?
You see, let's put it this way. As I said, the perception has been very negative with regard to Air India.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Carried from the time when government owned Air India. Now, what Tatas have done in this 2.5 years' time is to refurbish some of the old aircraft. A350s have been inducted into the A350s have been inducted into the fleet, and they're going to be starting operation from November onwards. So it's timed in such a manner that the perceptual change that they are seeking will come about. Let's look at the manpower. One was in merger, the critical part is manpower. Now what happened was that in the 2.5 years since they acquired Air India, there have been 3 or 4 times the VRS schemes have been launched. So many old people have taken advantage of the VRS and gone away. And Tata's in their place have inducted new employees, which means the work cultural change, re-engineering of work practices, and getting on to systems which are customer friendly and younger crew members to come on board. So that's where the difference comes in. And once you have the new product being launched, like take for example, India JFK has a better product than India New Jersey at the moment. But come the next 6 months, when more planes have been inducted, all of United States will be covered either with the new planes or with the refurbished planes. So what happens in the US market, which is the largest one for Air India, or globally, is to have a perception change. People will erase the impression that they have of the past will get erased and a new image will get created. Now that is where I say is the fundamental difference that will come about, and Vistara will contribute to it with Singapore Airlines having 25.1% post-merger. The technology flow, the innovative work practices, better work standards, etc. will be inherent part of Air India. So if you look at the merger from that perspective,
right,
fabulous decision. Let's look forward, give Tata another 2 years' time. As I very often say, the merger, the acquisition of Air India by Tata's isn't akin to a T20 match. It's akin to a test match. 2.5 years have gone by. Let's look at another 2 years' time when we'll be legitimately proud of what Air India has become.
Mr. Bhargav, I'd also like to understand, as far as Air India's market share is concerned, somewhere near 9.3%, Vistara holding about 10% of the market share. Earlier, yes, they were competitors until, of course, the Tatas took over Air India, and the Tatas were already operating Vistara. As you've already explained to our viewers, that it was a tricky situation when it's the same parent entity that's literally holding two airlines which are meant to compete. But when we talk about now combining the market share, what does that mean for domestic and international competition?
You see, let's look at the domestic market first. Yes, I agree with you. Both Tatas and Vistara have had 10% each, and Air India Express has another 3-5% market share. Now, with Indigo having 60% plus market share, and if you had splintered airlines with nobody commanding a dominating position, would have been that Indigos would have ruled the skies. Now, when you have a major carrier, formidable airline combination, having close to 30% market share, you will be giving Indigo a run for the money, better from the market. Now, unfortunate part is that the smaller airlines that we have perished in the last few years. They've not been able to survive the onslaught because Indigo, with multiple frequencies on each destination, profitable airline, growth program that we have never seen before with 1,000 aircraft on order, etc. You will have to have a formidable airline, domestic airline from India, and that is what the merger between Air India and Vistara will provide. Come to the international sector. Air India has been the largest domestic international player from amongst the Indian carriers. Now, what you need to do is that if you have a large fleet, and which they will have, they've ordered aircraft, you do not have to necessarily operate services out of Delhi and Mumbai. Why were the Emirates and Etihad capitalizing? Because no passenger from Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata, etc. was wanting to come to the hub of Air India, Mumbai and Delhi, and then take an international flight. And they felt, why not fly directly to Dubai or Abu Dhabi and fly onward to the United States? Now, what happens in the next 2 years, or which has already started happening, is that they are no longer treating Mumbai, Delhi as the bases. They will commence operating direct flights. They're already doing flights from Bangalore to San Francisco. They will have direct flights to multiple points in the United States, from multiple cities in India, totally obviating the need for Gulf carriers or Southeast Asian carriers to funnel Indian traffic out of India to their hubs and then on to these destinations abroad. So significant change will come about. And look at from the Indian perspective, 2027, Indigo has placed orders for large haul, ultra capacity aircraft, ultra long haul aircraft. When they also get inducted, that will be the shining chapter in Indian aviation history, when international skies from India will also be dominated by Indian carriers.
At the same time, Mr. Bhargav, what really are you expecting or hoping will then become the ultimate benefit to the consumer at this point in time? Because from a consumer's perspective, honestly speaking, it's two companies that are merging, but what is in it for the consumers? Are we hoping that there, as you've mentioned, that there'll be now solid competition to Indigo, which is holding more than 50% of the market share, which sometimes also leads to, a lot of people have been complaining recently about the sort of charges that we see around a flight ticket and the multiple charges that people are today paying to just fly from one point to another, and the fact that they don't have too many options available. So now with this merger, how do you hope, or what do you think will happen from a consumer's perspective?
You know, this is like a fear being created that if you have a fewer airline, the fares will go up. The best guarantee against fares going recklessly high is that both Tatas and Indigo have placed orders for large number of aircraft.
Yes.
How can they sustain a market? If they have to keep inducting new aircraft, they have to ensure that the market is stimulated for growth, and the growth will only come if fares are affordable. You see, when you had 5-6 airlines go first collapse, Jet Airways collapse, they're unable to do it, and then you had left with these places. But it's better to have fewer airlines but stronger airlines rather than larger number of airlines but financially weaker airlines. Now take the case of SpiceJet, which we are currently witnessing now.
Yes.
SpiceJet is operating 1/3 the number of flights that they did 2 years ago. Now, isn't that affecting? So I would rather prefer Air India expanding, Indigo expanding, monopolizing the market, and as I said earlier, the best guarantee against fares being abnormally high is the large induction of capacity, because once they keep inducting new aircraft, they will have the need to fill up this aircraft. An aircraft can only be filled up if you have fares which are affordable.
Mr. Bhargav, at the same time, if we're looking at, say, the next few years, maybe 3 years or the next 5 years, if you're talking about an Indigo and an Air India-Vistara merger, then competing with one another and monopolizing the market in a way, a lot of consumers have also in the recent past then complained of the overall service or the overall experience that they get in some of these flights. And like I said, the consumer doesn't really have a choice at the end of the day when there is a singular player that's really taken over the market. How will Air India and Vistara after the merger then strike a balance, a neat balance between providing really quality service and also getting in the money they require to expand their fleet, to expand their staff?
You know, quality part, let's not compare, because Air India-Vistara combination will be a full service carrier, whereas Indigo is a low cost airline.
Yes.
That's one part of it.
Okay.
The second part that we need to understand is that Indigo will be growing. The fares are reasonable, will be high. Let's look at only 10 days ago. Indigo came out with a scheme that this is a 3-day window, and if you're wanting to buy tickets now for flying between such and such period, the fare was 1,111 and upwards from there. Because aviation industry being capital intensive, the fares are regulated, keeping in view the lean periods and the peak periods in the market. So when we normally look at extended weekends, holiday period, the fares are high. But we forget the part when airlines are offering far lower fares only to fill up the aircraft because you can't be flying empty. And one important thing that I keep reiterating, and I want to get it in public domain again, that unlike any other product, which if it is not sold today, can be sold tomorrow, like a motor car, a refrigerator, an air conditioner, etc. But in aviation industry, seat is a perishable commodity. Once a flight takes off, the value is zero. So it is as much in airlines' interest to get passengers to fill up the aircraft, and that can only be done if the fares are affordable, attractive enough for passengers to fly.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.